of Nintendo Dads is brought to you by our amazing Patreons over at patreon.com/NintendoDads. For as little as $1 a month, even you can support this show and help us create amazing Nintendo Dad parenting content. We want to thank everyone who donates to our show. You're the best. Welcome to Nintendo Dads episode 58. On tonight's episode, we look back at 2015, review some games that we were kind of hoping to play in 2015, and really how wrong we were. Plus, we name our Game of the Years. So, for the very last time in 2015, Zach, could you please cue the music?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of the Nintendo Dads Podcast. My name is Zach Erickson, and tonight is December 30th?
What?
2015. Joining me tonight for the last episode of 2015 is Justin Masson. What's going on tonight, Justin?
I am excited to be back. I don't really realize how much you missed not podcasting or hanging out and talking to you guys for a week, but I missed you both.
I know. I was like playing with my mixer or whatever and trying to figure out sounds, and just listening to the music got me excited again.
I know, right?
Speaking of exciting, joining us as well is Jesse Waldeck from VGTribune.com. What's going on tonight, Jesse?
I wish I had an exciting comeback, but I kind of fell flat on that one.
Yeah.
Let's make that part of your 2016 New Year's resolution.
Yeah.
I normally try to have something ready to go, but sometimes whatever you say just completely screws it up.
You know what? I think that is the hint to quality podcasting, is having no plan.
Boom.
I feel like that is.
So I should just delete these show notes. So
Yeah. Oh God.
Hold on. Let me just save them first.
Right on. Well, let's get into. We've got a lot to talk about. We've got our Game of the Year awards tonight. All sorts of good stuff. So let's head straight into what we've been playing. Or no, it's
Open to. I think it's timeline time.
Yeah, timeline. Let's head into the news or whatever.
The timeline.
I'm just gonna play the bumper.
Do it. So I wanted to start this off by asking you guys, before we really dive into the Game of the Years and everything, how do you feel Nintendo did overall in 2015? I asked Zach as he's about to shove a Reese's peanut butter cup the size of his head into his mouth.
I almost did, and I was like, what am I doing? That is a terrible idea. No, don't do that. No.
it is awesome for the live streamers. That's entertaining right there.
Yeah. Actually,
The people listening to it on the podcast will be confused to all hell, but the live viewers, that's awesome.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like that's kind of just how we do around here.
How we do.
I saw an article today. I think it's who did it? Was it Chris Kohler? Chris Kohler from Wired.
Yep,
Nintendo Transformed. In 2015. Anyways, it was a great article. I haven't read the whole thing yet. It's called "Here's How Nintendo Transformed Itself in Just a Year," and he talked about how much Nintendo has transformed this past year. Think about where we were a year ago, and all of the things that have happened. Think about the craziness of Amiibo this year. Think of the entire mobile thing coming out this year. You know, we haven't gotten any games yet, but they've gone through a pretty significant restructuring. There's a new CEO. Obviously, I don't think that was planned, but we do have Kimishima, who's now at the helm. I think that from a business standpoint, I think that they've changed a lot, and I think that it's for the better. Mm-hmm. But having said that, I also feel like the 3DS took some pretty serious. It was a pretty weak year for 3DS.
Right. So I like the fact, Zach, and maybe it's the way you think, you're compartmentalizing into two sections, right? You're looking at it from a business perspective, for a long-term strategy of the industry and understanding the long game, right? The larger game in play. Mm-hmm. But you're also micromanaging it down into the year. So you as a fan, you as a person who plays Nintendo games, who is a consumer, who is a parent, what are your thoughts on 2015?
On the games?
Yeah, just on you. Are you happy or are you sad?
Yeah, I feel like I was okay. The games that did come out seemed to all come out around the same time,
Sure.
around the fall. You know, I mean, I was looking, and we're gonna get into this later, but I was looking at the game release calendars for the entire year when we were making up our game of the year, when I was making up my awards, and like on Wii U, almost nothing came out before Splatoon, which was like in May, right? And so we had Kirby and we had
Mario Party.
and like nothing too exciting
Mhm.
for the first half of the year almost, and then Splatoon hit and we're like super excited, but then nothing else hit until September.
Yeah.
And then we got like Splatoon and Yoshi and Xenoblade and
Mario Maker.
and like all of these crazy.
Yeah, I did. I on when I was figuring out what to pick for a game of the year, I went to GameFAQs.com, told it to give me a list of all the Wii U games released as a physical game, to get rid of all the eShops for now, that were released in 2015, and sort them by release date. And Splatoon is third. The third, only Kirby and Mario Party 10 was out, and this includes third parties.
And I mean, like, I think 3DS had a few games at the beginning of the year that were pretty decent, and then we had almost nothing until like Triforce Heroes, right? Like around that time,
Right.
like I guess Animal Crossing. It was a really rough year for 3DS, and so as far as the actual categories,
3DS had more than Wii U. We only had like 28 games come out.
right? But it felt like it was like the quality wasn't as high either. Like whereas we got like Splatoon and Mario Maker, like on 3DS we had like Triforce Heroes, or we got a lot of spin-off titles, especially in the second half of the year. Like we had Yokai Watch, and which was, I think, one of the biggest titles. And if there's one game that I wish I would have played for our awards today, it's Yokai Watch, because I feel like that may have changed my rankings of what's going to come later. But I don't know. It felt. At the same time, I'm fairly positive, and I probably spent more money on Nintendo because of all these freaking amiibo on my shelf than I have in a long time too. So I don't know. It was a weird year, I guess. It felt like there was a lot of change in the air, and a lot of the games that we wanted to play didn't come out.
Didn't come to fruition.
Right. Which I think we're going to talk about. So.
Yeah, Jesse, how about you? Just before we get, I have the list here. I'm gonna start breaking down in a couple of moments kind of everything that did occur from a timeline perspective. But Jesse, how would you kind of rate 2015 for Nintendo?
I think I kind of agree with what Zach mentioned. Kind of a slow start, but things ramped up. And while the slow start was just in terms of game releases, as we're just about to touch, there was several news announcements going around that would affect the future. Some of which hasn't even happened yet.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
Sure. Yeah, so I've got the list here. I'm gonna pull it up. Just kind of a reminder of everything that happened in 2015. Zach's touched a little bit on it, but let's start off with. So in early of 2015, Nintendo actually made the announcement of the DNA partnership, right? Which they actually bought stock, both companies, in each other, which was one of the largest investments that Nintendo's ever made. Announcing they were basically moving into the mobile strategy space. You'd see them in 2016. Wii games actually began coming to the Wii U. I don't know if you guys remember this.
That was earlier this year, eh?
Yeah, it was early support. They announced a couple of games, said, hey, we're going to start putting some Wii games in Wii U eShop. They rolled out 3 or 4 of them and then kind of stopped. They've
started bringing those more.
They've restarted that. We've seen that with Zelda. We've also seen that with
Zelda
Galaxy.
Zelda?
Sorry, I was thinking not Triforce Heroes. Twilight Princess, but that's not quite the same.
Right. And now, is this around, when did they start doing DS games? Was that this year, or was that last year that they started DS?
I think it was this year as well. They did
yeah.
Quietly.
Yeah.
Yeah, I got the WarioWare Touched. And
I got stuff.
I remember liking the game when it was new, and so I was kind of excited to play it, and then I played it, and I'm like, oh, that was it?
Yeah. Okay, question real quick, and I know you're kind of doing like rapid fire style here, but
yeah.
when they started the Wii games on virtual, I guess they're technically not calling it virtual console, but Wii games on Wii U, they had that deal that was $10 for the first week.
Yep.
And that felt really, really good. That felt irresistible at that price.
'Cause I even bought Metroid Prime Trilogy for $10, even though it's a game I probably would never play. But just hey, for $10,
For $10.
for $10, why not?
But and now, like, they kind of stopped doing that after the initial 3. I really wish they would go back to that. I feel like there are a lot of games that I would get that, like, if they were to go back, even if they were to put the price at $15.
I was thinking the same thing. 15 seems to be the sweet spot for that type of thing.
Yeah, it makes it tempting, because at $20, there's something psychologically that if something is $20, that's probably too much. Frankly, I feel like if it just from a more of a business side of it, like, it just doesn't feel tempting at $20, but for some reason $5 less is very tempting. Like Galaxy just came out on Christmas Eve, right? And for $20, no way. For 15, maybe, right? I mean, and the thing is, I've got both of the discs in my freaking cabinet right now, so I'm not too worried about it. But anyway, I don't know. What do you think, Justin?
Yeah, $10 is a sweet spot for that, right? Like, you can go down to GameStops and probably find them used nowadays. So I think that $10 marker was the best place to go. And you're validating the eShop again, right? Like, you want people to continually go back to that, and you have to draw them to it, so you have to make it a deal.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. And the reason why I don't think they're calling these virtual console is because all these the games that are legitimately virtual console, they had to put some sort of wrapper around it. It's the emulator with the embedded ROM in it, and the emulator could be tweaked game by game. All the Wii games just seems like, because it goes into Wii mode to play it. So I think it's just dump in the ISO and go.
Yeah, that's true.
So it's not really, they're not wrapping it in anything. They're just making it the native Wii mode work.
That makes sense.
Which is, coming from the Wii U menu directly is kind of amazing.
Yeah.
A couple other things that occurred during that time frame as well is, not only were they announcing the strategy with DNA, this is the first time they mumbled the words NX, and that was in Q1 of 2015. This began to kind of put people on the Nintendo front in a little bit of a scared front and worried. However, they said, we're not going to talk about it really again until 2016.
And then they mumbled the words NX. Reggie did at the beginning of E3, and that was it.
Yeah, and that was kind of it.
Yeah.
The new 3DS XL got released in North America, but we were not provided with any of the original smaller version of the new 3DS with the faceplates. Zelda Wii U came out as an announcement that it was getting shifted to 2016 to make some changes for it. We all paired that with the announcement of the NX and thought that Zelda Wii U would not exist and was dead. Mm-hmm. Zach, you had something there.
Oh, I was just
well, I don't think
they ever said 2016. Actually, I guess is what I was saying.
They never declared 2016, but that was kind of what we didn't know for sure.
Right.
And then I remember my thoughts then, which still match my thoughts now, is while I don't think the Zelda Wii U is dead, I'm still leaning toward this is going to get the Twilight Princess treatment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
We also saw
dual console release.
Yeah, Club Nintendo officially got closed worldwide, and we later in 2015 got some details about the My Nintendo account, but we are still waiting for more clarity on that in relation to how that impacts us. Mario Kart got DLC in beginning of May. Nintendo brought in a new IP, which was Splatoon, which we were all questioning and didn't know much about before. They also did something unprecedented, which was a Humble Bundle for Nindies, where they actually partnered up, and I think it was for like $10. You got, how many games was it? Like 8 in the end or something?
Something like that, yeah, like $8.
For amazing games. I know that was in there. There was Guacamelee, there was SteamWorld Dig, there was Fallen, there was amazing great games in there. They then announced, or then they kicked off the Nintendo World Championships, where actually they saw them compete in games, I think it's Best Buys across the US, and then compete right before E3 with a version of Mario Maker. They had the Nindies at Home program, which is a bunch of actually indie games that you're able to download the week of E3 and play at a play the demos, and then get a reduced price if you chose to buy them later. These games include such games as Runbow and what else is in there?
Typo Man.
Typo Man, Exorcism, Extreme. So it was pretty incredible. Now that was unfortunately followed by a very disappointing E3 that included the internet getting very angry about Metroid Federation Force.
Oh man, that whole E3, like, it wasn't just Federation Force. I think it was like Nintendo's complete. It almost seemed like they were completely unaware of the hype they had generated for their press event, and then like their inability to actually meet that hype with what they provided.
That, and what didn't help is a few days before E3 started, Retro's Twitter account said, "Are you ready for E3?" Made it, even though they had nothing to announce, but they made it sound like they were going to make an announcement.
Oh, yeah, I forgot about that.
Unfortunately, the internet and people on the internet make connections. They're like the worst beautiful mind putting pieces together they believe fit that don't really fit, and then they get disappointed when nothing comes to fruition. Welcome to the internet.
I totally just had that scene from Beautiful Mind where Russell Crowe's like pointing out, like pulling all the numbers out of the ball or whatever, and he's like, "Oh yeah, it's this here or whatever." Yeah,
that's pretty much how every Nintendo fan on the internet works.
See, I was thinking the image in my head was
these little 8-bit sprites coming out of the wall, like
no. The image I had in my head was like the Question from DC Comics. With one of those conspiracy boards.
Yeah.
With like that, with the strings.
Yes, strings in the pictures, to connecting things.
Yeah, totally.
Now, as disappointed as we might have been about the games, the puppets for Star Fox were pretty freaking incredible. So I'll leave that with that.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, things then kind of turned a little bit sour in July when Mr. Iwata passed away.
Mm-hmm.
And later it was designated that Kimishima would take the reins of Nintendo, which we didn't actually hear an official announcement, I believe, until September, I believe.
Yeah, it was several months.
Nintendo stayed very quiet during about a 6 to 8 week period where we were all kind of a little bit uncertain about what was going to happen.
Even a couple of months after that, right?
Yeah.
Like they basically, I feel like a really big chunk of the year was defined by that radio silence from Nintendo once E3 was over.
Yeah.
Right? Like from the end of E3 until like
September, middle.
Yeah, I'd say even the launch of Mario Maker. Yes, they did have like a marketing campaign, but that marketing campaign was not punctuated at all by Nintendo Direct, which we expected. And a lot of the holiday games did not have Nintendo Directs around them like we would expect that they did.
Yeah,
or that they would. So. That was weird to have Nintendo Direct gone for so long, and I feel like it's not ever going to be coming back the way that it was.
No, absolutely not. We then saw Nintendo-related Pokemon Go get announced, which will be released in 2016 as well. This kind of AR game. In September, we rolled into the Amiibo craze, which I haven't mentioned here.
Before we go into that video that they put out for Pokemon Go was actually kind of amazing.
It really was.
Especially with at the end when there was a raid. Think of like World of Warcraft raid, where you have as many people in one area as you can, all attacking Mewtwo, and that's literally what that was.
It's like a raid meets a flash mob. It was crazy.
Yeah. Now, underpinning all of this was the craze that was Amiibo. We saw it a lot in the first 6 months of the year. It tailored off a little bit in the back half because they mentioned that they had got their supply chains fixed. But what we did see in September was the introduction of a new type of Amiibo, which is the Amiibo card that was started the Animal Crossing Happy Home design. So they introduced a new Amiibo in there as well. In North America, we actually finally did get the smaller 3DS announced. However, it was only actually available in a bundle, and that was the Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer bundle as well.
I think I saw. Did I see right that that there's going to be a small new 3DS with Fire Emblem Fates? I think I saw that.
It wouldn't surprise me. They're going to start to bundleize that to hell.
Yeah, bundleized. Yeah,
bundleized.
New word.
Okay.
Nice.
We then saw Star Fox shift into 2016
Oh.
from being the holiday title kind of tentpole game to replace Zelda, shift into 2016, leaving a large hole in Nintendo's lineup.
And that
which-
hole was larger than a tennis ball.
Yeah, or an amiibo-shaped Animal Crossing figure. So that happened, and then Nintendo.
I said
also
that because we got the tennis game.
yeah,
That was a bad
yeah,
joke.
I got that.
Bad joke.
Got that.
I wasn't sure you did because
Way to not sell that one.
No,
Yeah.
no. I just-
Shut
I
You-
tried.
You know what? You smashed that right through Skype.
I did.
You super smashed. That's what you did. Nintendo also announced their actual first mobile game called Mitomo, which overall was not received well.
And Kimishima since then has said, yeah, we haven't really explained that very well.
Yeah, it was going to be bad, guys. And
We're
the very
going to
final
need to
thing
sit
that's-
down and do a Treehouse Live for 3 hours to explain it.
Yeah.
You know the nice thing I like about, and I've said this before, but Kimishima, I feel like he is the exact person to kind of correct some of the weirdness that goes on in Nintendo sometimes. Like he'll even say in interviews, yeah, we kind of don't do this very well. We don't do that very well. And you can imagine a CEO to have the effect on an entire organization and a group of people to really fix the problems that he sees are there is going to take a while. But for him to be like, yeah, those guys down in marketing, not marketing, but like the PR guys, I'm going to have a chat with those people. You know what I mean? Like the fact that he is there and that he is going to be being like, you guys, no, that was terrible and that sucked and you need to do better. The fact that he's just great that way, I think. So I'm looking forward to seeing what his effect is on the company as a whole moving.
And then the final kind of keystone cap in 2015 was the final announcement of Super Smash DLC by Sakurai that for all of 2015 included characters such as Ryu, Roy, Lucas, and in the very end we got Cloud from Final Fantasy VII and Bayonetta, which basically ended
Don't
almost...
forget Corrin from...
Oh yeah, Corin, I apologize. I tried to forget her. You corrected me, you son of a gun. Basically ended an 18-month development cycle for all the DLC that they had done. So that was 2015 for Nintendo. It was, I think, a pretty massive year. Anything on that list, guys, that kind of stands out to you as like the big event or the big thing that you don't want to like gloss over?
I think Amiibo was a big thing, and that was crazy. It's been nice that they finally have figured out not necessarily their supply chain, but their distribution, I think, has improved. Their supply is probably about what it was like what it was ever going to be. But their distribution, I think, has improved. Just meaning, they've gone more with like in-store exclusives and things like that, which has worked out well for them. I think, again, Splatoon is kind of the darling of this year in general, I think.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of 2015 is, it as kind of put in the Japanese sort of way that they say a lot of times in like the directs is, please look forward to our future, sort of things.
Please understand.
Yeah, a couple of really big delays, but also there's a lot to be excited about for 2016, which of course we'll talk about next year.
Yeah.
Or next year and next week. But yeah, I think that a lot of 2015 was us getting excited about the NX and about looking forward to the future.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Jesse, how about you? Anything?
I can't think of anything that we missed or anything that I haven't already commented on.
Can I just say that having a half-pound Reese's peanut butter cup sitting on my desk is a terrible, terrible, tempting thing.
Isn't that thing tempting? I've had mine. I had one.
It's terrible.
I got one for Christmas, and it sat on my desk for about 5 days because I had 2 of them.
I took one bite out of it, and I'm like, oh, you know what? That was
and it,
better.
it took me a week to eat them.
Oh, that's bad.
You guys are honestly the worst.
I'm putting this behind my. There, I can't see it anymore, so I'll forget about it.
But you can still smell it.
Oh, I can't. Fingers and everything. Right on. No, but what about you, Justin? How was 2015 for you?
Yeah, I think Splatoon. I think your point really became the darling story of the year. I think, as we mentioned in the pre-show, it felt like the games were heavy-handed on the back half of the year. I think, not to be a downer. I think Iwata's passing, I think, had a huge impact on the
Oh.
company. I think it had a huge impact on the course of 2015, and I don't think that that needs to be missed. However, I think in that the passing being as unfortunate as it is, it highlights the humanity of individuals behind these games, behind these companies. And I mean the outcry of emotion that people felt for a person who they have never probably met in their life, but was so much an impact on them. I think goes beyond just the these are plastic things or gifts or discs that we buy and consume, but rather the background behind people on it as well. So I thought that was pretty huge. Yeah, I think those are kind of the big things. But I think, to your point, it felt like Nintendo was kind of reshifting itself in 2015 for sure, and just saying, like, have faith that 2016 will be better.
Yeah, totally agreed. Right on. So next up on the list, we have last year we had our most anticipated games for 2015. I think it would be fun to read these off. We're actually not gonna. We're gonna hold these off until next week for us, because we've added a couple more categories and we don't want to make this episode ridiculously long. But just going through these and just to say, like, did this meet your expectations? This sort of exciting bit here. So first up,
And before we start, I'd like to mention that two out of the three of us picked 2 out of 3 games that didn't even come out yet.
yeah. In fact, everybody had a game that did not come out. So
I had 2.
yeah, and Jesse had 2, it seems. So Justin, what were your runners up and your winner?
Yeah, so for my most anticipated game of 2015, interestingly enough, my runner-up was Mario Maker, and my fingers were crossed for a Metroid game that never came to fruition, specifically for the Wii U, not the 3DS, because when this would have been made, I didn't have a 3DS at that point. And the game I was most looking forward to in 2015, much like most Nintendo fans and the entire internet, was Zelda.
Nice.
And instead, I just played Wind Waker Zelda, and I was okay with it.
Nice. Because you know what? They're pretty much all the same, right?
Oh, yeah, there's just a guy in a green tunic and a sword. Let's go.
Yeah, there you go. Wow. Send your emails to Nintendo Dad. Next up, Jesse. What were yours?
And I also said Mario Maker as a runner-up, and then I picked a non-Nintendo game, Persona 5, which again that's a game that didn't come out yet.
What's the ETA on that one?
I don't even know. I think it's supposed to be out in Q1 in Japan next year.
Oh, that's going to be like 2017 then.
Yeah, but so I don't think we're going to get it Q1. I don't. Well, it'll either be a late 2016 or early 2017 game. And,
oh, man.
But at least we have Sharp FE to fill that hole.
I'm looking forward to. You know what? After playing, I'll say it. After playing Xenoblade on the Wii U, I'm ready for another. I haven't beaten it yet, but I'm ready for another RPG on Wii U. I'm much more excited about that than I was before this.
And then for my number one anticipated, I also said Zelda. And to fill in that hole, this year I played through both Twilight Princess and Skyward Sword, and then we'll be playing through Twilight Princess again next year when it comes out on HD.
Mm-hmm.
Which I did do a pre-order for the disc copy just because I wanted the amiibo.
Mm-hmm.
And I might still buy it on digital just because I want it on digital. But anyway, either way, I'm getting the game for somehow.
Nice. Right on. And for me, my 2 runners up were Codename Steam, which I really liked. It's not going to make my list, spoiler alert, but I did like it. And then my other runner-up was Star Fox, which is delayed. And then my winner, my most anticipated game, was Splatoon, which, Justin, you said I was crazy. when I said that.
You did. I did say that.
Yeah,
Somebody can probably snip that audio file and
yep.
send it to us.
But yeah, so that was mine, and I think I feel, at least for my most anticipated, I feel fairly vindicated in that. So pay attention next week when I talk about my most anticipated games of 2016. I don't know what that means. As if a stop clock is right twice a day. So, all right. So with that, any other thoughts about 2015, guys, before we head into our awards?
Let's do it.
All right. All right. So basically, what I thought we would do with this. How did we do this last year? Did we go around in a circle and say, like, this is my runner-up, and then everybody did the runner-up, and then we did our winner?
Yeah, I think so.
Something.
We also did that voice too. I think we also did that. Yeah.
Well, I remember doing this from Grandma's house last year, so
That's right. Yeah,
I was remote.
in like some sort of like cello room or something, if I remember.
Oh, I was in the kitchen, dining area, but at the time everyone else was trying to sleep. But everyone else was in earshot of me, so I probably kept everybody awake.
Nice.
Because the kids were on the futon folded down. My wife was like 2 feet away from me on an air mattress on the floor.
Right on. So,
It was
amazing.
pretty awkward.
That's pretty amazing. So basically, we have 6 categories, and I think what we'll do is we'll go through each one of them, and then after we each give our winners, then we can kind of have a session of like runners up for DLC or like so, or honorable mentions, I should say, for each category as well. That's what I have prepared. If so, I don't know if you guys want to like do that. We could do
So you want to do you want to do winner, not runner-ups that way?
No, so we'll do the runners up, then we'll do the winners, then after we do the winners, we'll just kind of have some honorable mentions for
Sure.
each category. Okay, so let's start.
And you don't have them listed here, but if we have time, I'd like to talk about some Nintendo games as well.
Oh yeah, we'll do that after we do our overall game of the year. Oh, actually, you know what? Let's start with that. Let's start with our Nintendo. Jesse, why don't you go ahead? What do you?
Okay, so as my runner-up, I chose the King's Quest games, of which we only have 2 chapters. I was hoping to have more, more, because normally when they have the episodic games, you still have the whole game within 6 to 8 months. Maybe not much longer than that, but it was like 6 months between chapters 1 and 2. We finally got chapter 2, like a week and a half ago, or last week. So, but I played it and enjoyed it. That's so that's Activision's revitalizing Sierra Online, and this is developed by Odd Gentleman, if I recall.
Okay. Cool.
And as my winner, I said Batman Arkham Knight.
Arkham. Wait, didn't? Okay, this is the what? What is this one? I thought this one had already come out.
No, this came out in like June.
Oh yeah, okay. Sorry. Why did I instantly go into most anticipated? Yeah, Batman Arkham Knight. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, I didn't 100% that game, but I did every side quest except for 2 of them, and one of which is I got was the Riddler trophies. I did as much as I could with the Riddler until they said, when you finish all 240 of my riddles, then come back and see me. And I said, screw that. I got 20 done. So I'm not going to go. So I didn't do that or the Firefly missions because I couldn't figure out how to catch them. But other than that, I 100% of the game.
Nice.
So I enjoyed it.
Right on. Justin, have you played what non-Nintendo games have you played in 2015 that stand out for you?
None.
None? No, like iPhone games or anything?
No.
Okay. The only ones that I can think of off the top of my head, I didn't prepare any, but I'm just looking into my phone here. Hearthstone came out last year, right? So I don't think that no, it doesn't count. There's this stupid game that I play on my phone all the time called Marvel Future Fight that I literally play every single day. It's ridiculous. That I really like. It is a free-to-play game that is microtransaction-y as all get out, and I've dumped money into this game. So I would say that that is one that's pretty decent. And then, oh, Heroes of the Storm would be the other one that officially came out this year. And I've played quite a bit of that and enjoyed that. It's kind of a League of Legends MOBA type game, but it's a lot more approachable. And I would say that those are my two that I would choose for that. So yeah, right on. So with that, let's move on to our best DLC. Now, best DLC is a category. Basically, this is likely a game that did not come out this year, although it could. If it came out this year and then just used DLC in a really awesome way, then it can totally qualify and count. In fact, either one of those, but the idea being the best use of DLC at all. So, Jesse, let's start with you. What do you have for your runner-up for best DLC?
I think I'm going to have to pass on this one because I literally don't think I played any games that had DLC in it.
Okay, so you don't have any for your runner-up or your winner.
Yeah, I'm just going to say I have nothing.
All right, cool. Justin, what about you? What is your runner-up?
So my runner-up for best DLC is Shovel Knight, because they had the Plague of Shadows DLC that came out as a free update, and what this did for me actually is I had it on the Wii U. It drove me enough to buy it on my 3DS, and then I put in the code just to be playing Plague of Shadows on my 3DS, like without having to complete the Shovel Knight portion of it. So I thought it was a really great strategy, and it drew me back to playing the game again.
Very cool. Right on. I loved that. I loved it. Shovel Knight, like I said, Shovel Knight was my game of the year last year. It was, I loved that Plague of Shadows. You know, I'm going to actually just give mine right now. I'm going to give both, and then I'll talk about both. But my winner was actually Shovel Knight.
Yeah.
So Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows, I mean, basically what that did was, it was like a whole new Shovel Knight game all over again. Right? Like I basically got to play it again and love it all over again. The story, did you finish it?
No, not yet.
Yeah, the story is like, again, like even like similar to the original, the characterization that they like, the amount of character that they're able to pull out of this 8-bit style game is incredible. Like how much attachment that you get to the characters, and I mean, it's just a real credit to the writers of this game. I think it's just great, and the music is amazing. So my winner is Shovel Knight, Plague of Shadows, and my runner-up is Super Smash Brothers for Wii U and 3DS.
Any patch specifically, or just the kind of whole year?
I think just the whole year in general. I mean, specifically like the addition of the new fighters and the new stages. Not so much the Mii costumes, although I have admittedly paid for many of those as well.
Sure.
But I've really liked the Smash Brothers DLC, and I'm looking forward to the additional characters. Like I bought all the characters on both 3DS and Wii U, so I just am loving Smash Brothers. It's something that I continually go back to and play some more. And over Christmas, I took my Wii U actually to my parents' house, because the boy got Lego Dimensions and we wanted to make sure he could play it on Christmas Day. But on, I think it was like the 23rd or something, you know, like a couple of days before Christmas, we broke out all the like GameCube controllers, and like my brother and I used 3DSs, and we had like 6 different people with like my siblings and my parents all playing Smash Brothers.
That's awesome.
It was ridiculous.
Wow.
It was fun. So, and like both of my parents were playing. It was pretty funny. And yeah, it was like it was one of the first times that I've actually been able to play, you know, like actually use the 8-player Smash mode.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really fun.
That's awesome.
It was like 6 players, but it was really cool. So
Nice.
yeah, Smash Brothers, absolutely for me is the runner-up, and then the winner, Shovel Knight Plague of Shadows.
Sweet.
Right on. Any honorable mentions for you, Justin?
I mean, honorable mentions for DLC. I thought Mario Kart 8 was great. I thought that was great to bring us back to playing that again. I was happy for the Smash stuff, but it didn't draw me back to like really back into the game. I was just like, oh, it's a new character. I also thought the pricing was a little bit absurd, especially with the value we saw for Mario Kart 8. But my winner for best DLC was actually Splatoon. And I don't really know if we consider that DLC. I sort of consider it DLC. It was the August update specifically that kind of fundamentally changed a little bit of the game and really released that second level of patch imbalances and more maps. And I felt that was just the timeliness of it, the fact it was free, kind of what that did for the life cycle of that game, I thought was great. And it just continued to kind of, you know, a lot of people were like, oh, I won't buy it till after August. And I remember we even saw the numbers spiked just before August when that patch hit. And it continued to just give it life. So Splatoon was mine.
Right on. Very cool. I have just as an honorable mention for mine was Splatoon and also Mario Kart. So,
Yep.
And also I guess the other one that I would say again, it's hard to delineate between updates versus DLC.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Yeah, that was my challenge with Splatoon.
yeah,
It was kind of an update, but it was kind of like more was put into it.
yeah, like
I think pre-August you'd consider it an update, and then at post-August would you consider it DLC.
yeah, and like I guess another one that I would just kind of point out is I haven't played it, but another one that was notable was the Triforce Heroes update.
Yep.
Added like a whole new mode. Apparently, I haven't tried it yet, but yeah. So there's that too. Oh, you know what? Here's another one that I just thought of that I actually, I'm definitely. It wouldn't change it necessarily, but Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate for 3DS had substantial updates from Capcom.
Yeah, didn't they have like monthly updates for a while?
Yeah, they had monthly updates for like a good 6 to 8 months or something like that, where they had all sorts of end game content that they were continually adding to that game. And that's a game that that was a really, pretty impressive DLC strategy. It was really intimidating, that game, but what I did play of that game was really fun, and that DLC was great. So right on. Next up is best eShop exclusive. So I think this is more of, we could call it like best Nindy, but I mean, I don't think, like some of this stuff is Nintendo developed, so we just call it best eShop exclusive, meaning downloadable titles, stuff like that. So, and this is a combined Wii U and 3DS eShop category, same as the last one. So, Jesse, what is your runner up?
You can imagine what my list is probably already based on what I've said in the past few months, but that is in my list, yes. But as a runner-up, I said SteamWorld Heist.
What?
Yeah,
Nice.
I didn't think I liked this game, and there are points in it that I picked it up just because of the sale. If it wasn't for that sale, I probably wouldn't have even touched it. And I heard all the glowing reviews. So I'm like, okay, well, if you think about it, a non-grid based 2D game like that can be thought of in terms of a puzzle. So I'm like, okay, yeah, I kind of had to talk myself into it. But I gave it a try. I'm actually, and the end of Act 2 kind of frustrated me because the difficulty spike right at the end. But after some grinding and leveling up and finding some different pieces of gear, I was able to get past it. Now I'm kind of early on into Act 3. So I probably
this game up some more, man. This is a game that I have not played enough of, and it didn't grab me like I wanted it to. I don't know what it was, but yeah. So that's awesome though. I'm really looking forward to playing more of it for sure. Justin, what about you? What is your runner-up?
My runner-up was Runbow. So this came out in September from 13 AM Games, which is a Canadian development company, which we had a great opportunity to have an interview for. I thought this was just a really fun game. I thought it was a great party game. I loved how it brought together all of these indie or nindy characters, such as even Shovel Knight and Rusty, into this game, and they did some great just use of colors. There were so many different modes to it. So it's just a really fun game. I really enjoyed Runbow.
Very cool. Right on. My runner-up is Box Boy.
Oh yeah, Box
Yes. It's a black and white 2D platformer puzzle game. I picked it up on the Black Friday / whatever deal, and it's really fun. I really like it. It's very simple, very pick up and play. I really liked it a lot. and I'm looking forward to playing it some more. So, yeah, Box Boy is my runner-up. Jesse, what is your winner? Let me guess.
And then, yes, everyone can guess. I said Pokemon Picross. That's just the one game I literally put in the most hours in. And it doesn't seem like I put in that many because, I only had it for maybe 2 weeks before I finished it. But I had like 50, 53, 55 hours in it.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess that's what happens when I'm, on vacation. When I have, and unlike SteamWorld Heist, where when I fail, sometimes it's frustrating because I might have had a bad random number throw, a bad hit, or they did a critical on me, or I just missed, or just the randomized levels were just with a weird placement of some things. But in Pokemon Picross, if I mess up, that's all my fault. So it's I can't get upset at the game when I know there's nothing else to blame but me. So that's kind of the difference between the two. I think that's probably the only reason why I have them in that order.
Nice. Right on. Yeah, Pokemon Picross is a force. It's pretty fun. I did end up paying the $5, and I need to go back and play some more of that. Just enough to get the sort of initial whatever.
I remember I said when I first talked about it, if anyone calls it free to play, you have my permission to smack them.
No, it's totally not.
And the NVC guys, they consistently said free to play when talking about this game, and I just wanted to reach in and smack them.
Well, I mean, I think it's similar, and we see the strategy more and more from Nintendo, where like a really good comparison that I think is. And to be fair, I think they call it free to start, right? And
free to start is an appropriate term. I like that term.
And they the other example that I'm thinking of is like Fatal Frame, the new Fatal Frame game that came out. I played through the I played through the free part of that game and loved it. But I was like, do I want to spend like $65-$70 on this game? No. But I really loved the free stuff, and that's it's kind of where you get with Pokemon Picross is you get to a certain point and then it's like a brick wall and you're like, well, I guess I'm paying or literally logging in just to do the weird daily thing, and that's it.
And I have a feeling Fire Emblem Fates are going to do the same thing if for those who want to buy it digitally. I think you'll be able to download the free starting missions, then you get to the point when you choose your side, and that's when you buy.
Oh, that would be great.
I hope they do it that way because that's the right way to do it.
Oh, that'd be amazing. That's like basically instead of putting a demo out, just put out the first 5 levels.
Right.
Oh, that'd be great. They totally need to do that. Nintendo, if you're listening, do that. Right on. Justin, what is your winner for best eShop game?
Oh, mine's Pokemon Picross. Never said no one in my house.
Well, your wife might have. Apparently, she enjoyed it.
She enjoyed it. I didn't get it. I'm not smart. My favorite game, actually, not a big shock here, much like Jesse's was Pokemon Picross. My favorite exclusive best eShop was SteamWorld Heist.
Nice.
Yeah, I keep going back and playing that one.
Very cool. I like it.
How far are you two in that game?
I'm at the end of the second area.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm not even like I didn't know there was areas. You know what? Actually, I was planning on playing that game when I was on the road, and then I played a little bit of Pokemon Picross, and I was like, you know what? I haven't played in a while is Picross 3D, and so I broke out my DS cartridge, and I literally probably put 15 hours into that game.
Again, I've played through that game 3 times, so that's not hard to do.
It's amazing, and that is one of those games where I sit down to play it, and then I look up and like 4 hours have passed, and I'm like, what is going on?
In fact, some games like SteamWorld Heist, after about 2 or 3 levels, I have to put it down because my mind needs to rest.
Yep.
But Picross, after about 2 or 3 levels, I need to put it down because my hand needs to rest.
Mm-hmm. And that's probably one of the reasons I like SteamWorld Heist.
My brain is saying, "No, don't stop! I want more," but my hands is saying, "Shut up!"
The way that I game, the game I game with time is I only have such a small window, right? So SteamWorld Heist fits that just perfectly niche, right? I've got 20 minutes. good, I can bang out a level or two in SteamWorld Heist, and then close it up and go do something else, right? And I think that's for me one of the reasons why I love it so much is I mean, if I look at my log, I mean, yeah, Pokemon Shuffle is the game I played the most. Is it my favorite game? No, but it's how I play games, which is those really small interactions. So that's one of the reasons why SteamWorld Heist is up there for me.
Wasn't Pokemon Shuffle was that a 2015 game?
Yeah, it was.
Is that I don't want to like put words in your mouth, but is that an honorable mention?
No.
Oh, wow.
It's really
Wow.
not.
Wow. Okay.
That's just a burn game for me.
Okay.
I have my honorable mentions ready though. I'll let you finish up your winner.
Okay, cool. So my winner. Hang on, what did I pick for my winner? Oh yeah. I literally had just before the show. I had like 6 different games in my list, and I eventually just had to go with my gut. And my gut, the most addictive game that I had from the eShop this year was The Binding of Isaac Rebirth.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah, it was one of the I had never played The Binding of Isaac before, and it was just so. Now this is one that is only for the new 3DS, right? Like you can't play this if it's
Right.
3DS.
Yeah, because I think it's on the Unity engine,
Yeah.
and Unity doesn't run on the slower hardware.
Right, and so it's like this sort of randomized. You kind of sit down and you play a little bit. You play this randomized game or whatever, and it's pretty pick up and play and fun. But then depending on how far you get in the game, the progression is tied to your ability to learn the game and to get better at the game, and not necessarily to unlock certain things in there. So once you beat the end boss of the original mode, then you'll unlock this new mode, and then you'll unlock different things. And I really like, the more you play it, the more unlocks. I really liked it, and the more I think back on it, the more I thought, man, that was just a fun game. It's not now, for being Nintendo dads, a sort of family friendly sort of show, at least we try to be, in spite of ourselves sometimes. This is not a game for the kids, right? This is a mature title. It is about like a boy who is like I don't know if he's a fetus or what he is, or I don't know. It's weird. It's very weird and gross, and like poop and blood all over the place. It's very gross.
You attack with your tears.
You attack with your tears, and you fight demons, and it is like, yeah, it's definitely not for everybody, but I loved it. It was very, very, very good.
Yeah, I think I got that game on PS4 when it was on PS Plus, and I started playing through it, and I between levels you get like a kind of a bonus level or like a level to do stuff where there's like no harm, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's so randomized that it doesn't. You're even the bosses that you come up against. Who knows?
I finished level 4. I was ready to start the final level to get to the final boss, and that the safe level it gave me opened a chest and it killed me. I'm like, oh, screw this game then. That kind of pissed me off.
Yeah, that game. The whole thing is that it is 100% randomized. So you could play through one time and it will give you like the crappiest power ups imaginable.
But when it gives you good power ups, you just rip it up.
Yeah, like, and that was the thing, is that you would play through it like 5 times, and then I would start another one. It's like, I'll just start a new one and just see what power up I get. And I get this amazing one, and I'm like, oh no way, I'm stopping now, because then I'll actually be able to beat the end boss with this power up. This is amazing. And so you like play through the whole thing and want to play some more, and yeah, I really, really liked it. So definitely I do that with the warning that it is not for the kids. So anyway, so what about we've got winners here: Pokemon Picross, SteamWorld Heist, and the Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I should really say the 3DS version is the one that I played as well. I'm sure that the Wii U version is probably really good too, but that is the one that I played.
I think it would be the same game, whether one has glitches or the other one doesn't. I don't know, but functionally, this should be the same game because it's still the Unity engine.
Right. So games that I did not see, games that are not on right now that I would say just to, as far as honorable mentions, the only one that hasn't been mentioned already is Adventures of Pip. That is one that I personally didn't really attach myself to too much. Like I wasn't super excited by it, but I know a lot of people were, so I think it's worth mentioning. Jesse, what about you?
I didn't have any honorable mentions set up for that one.
Okay, what
Actually, most of them I don't think I did.
Yeah, for me, I was going to say Adventures of Pip as well. I'm a 2D platformer guy, so that I really loved. I actually loved Gunman and Clive 2
Oh, yeah.
on the 3DS eShop, and it was actually released in January 29th of 2015, so it did categorize in that as well. And actually, I probably should put on honorable mention Pokemon Shuffle.
Yeah.
Begrudgingly.
Begrudgingly, but it does deserve that title.
Very cool. Right on. Moving on, we've got 4 more categories to go. Holy cow. That's okay. So the next one is Best Family Game. We figured that this year, because we're Nintendo dads, we need to have a category that is like best game to play with your kids. And I don't know if this is how you guys did it, but I actually today, as I was making up my list, I asked my son Nick, I was like, all right, Nick, best game of all the games that we have, what is your favorite game? And I'm just going to spoil what I'm not choosing. I'll just say what one of my honorable mentions is now, because it was the first thing out of his mouth, was Lego Dimensions, which of course is like his newest game.
That's the fresh in his head.
That's fresh in his head, and I'm like, awesome. What else? And so mine are actually the two that he like. I kind of tried to get him to rank. Which one do you like better, this one or this one? So that's what I did. So basically, the idea is best family game, best game to play with your kids, that kind of a thing. So Jesse, what is your runner-up here?
Well, I'd like to start with the premise of I never actually played any of these games with my kids.
Okay.
Them being older and really not caring about these games as much as your kids do, but so which kind of narrows down the field to only like 3 or 4 games I would think of would even qualify. So I would say that Splatoon would be my runner-up.
Nice. Right on. You know what? That one is actually, I'll just say mine too. Mine is also Splatoon. So
Interestingly enough, mine is also Splatoon.
It's a sweep.
nice. Right on. So everybody's Splatoon. You know what? Splatoon really is. My only problem with Splatoon as a family sort of sit down and play together game is
You can't.
its lack of local multiplayer,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
I think that is the biggest failing of that game.
Mhm.
Is its lack of multiplayer. Yes, they do have the, what do they even call it? That arena mode or something?
Dojo.
We've never actually tried that mode in this house.
I think I tried it once and it wasn't very fun.
The idea of having 2 people run around an arena that's made for 8 people, it was never really that appealing, and I don't think that my son would really get it that well. It would be really great in the sequel if they do like a co-op local mode.
Right.
Maybe in the campaign. I think that would be really cool. But
Or do what what they've done with Mario Karts, where you can have 2 people locally go online.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Either way, right? I think that. But man, Splatoon.
It's because the map plays such a big factor.
Yeah, it totally is.
That's the thing they have to solve for.
Yeah. So but yeah, that's interesting. All 3 of us have runner-up being Splatoon. So what is your winner, Jesse?
With Super Mario Maker.
Cool. Right on. Super Mario Maker. Right on. Yeah, that was almost. That is one of my honorable mentions. Is Mario Maker. Just a great. My son has spent more time just sitting trying to make levels. That I, he loves that game. It's been great. So. Right on. Justin, what about you?
Yeah, my runner-up, as mentioned, was Splatoon, and I'll reveal my winner here in a second. My winner and my runner-up kind of battled back and forth, and it actually, when I compared them, my thought here is, to your point, exactly. When I want to play a game, what do the kids want to play? Like when I say, you guys want to play the Wii U, what do you want to play? And they call this. And for me, it was Yoshi's Woolly World, which I think was the best family game of 2015. And the reason I think that is much to the point of what we didn't like about Splatoon was a lack of co-op or player support.
Yep.
Yoshi's Woolly World has that in just spades, in how you're able to support each other, play together, which I really enjoy. I enjoy the mellow mode. I enjoy the fact it's challenging for me as an expert gamer, but also easy enough for my daughters to pick up and play. They can play it together. It's a gorgeous game. It's beautiful.
Oh, so
The amiibo is freaking adorable with it. So for me, Yoshi's Woolly World is absolutely the best family game of 2015. Honorable mention.
that was also mine, by the way.
Yeah,
I was
honorable
gonna
mention.
say everything that you said. Yes.
Honorable mentions I have in there is Mario Party 10, because I do think it's a family fun game. We had some fun playing it as well. I don't know if this Mario Party is the best version out there. I felt it probably wasn't because it was very amiibo heavy. We didn't try, any of us tried Animal Festival, Amiibo Festival for Animal Crossing. We debated that on the show several times.
Okay.
We chose not to do it.
I actually picked that up after we talked about it this weekend.
Okay. Yeah.
Where you said, "Hey, on Amazon Canada, it's half off." I'm like,
Yeah.
"Hey, it's half off here too." So my initial thought was, I'll buy it for $30 for the Amiibo and then pawn off the game. Then I'm thinking, you know what? The game's useless without the Amiibo anyway. So if I take the $30, subtract the $24 for the value of the Amiibo, I'm getting a game for $6.
Yeah.
I might as well just keep this stupid thing.
So you picked it up then, yeah?
Yeah, it just got delivered today.
Oh, okay, so
It's still in its box. I haven't played it yet, but my son is interested in giving it a try.
Oh, we'll be interested to hear that then for
So
sure.
we'll probably talk about that next week.
Nice.
Okay. Nice.
Done.
Like that. Only 2 months late for that, or a month and a half late. That's okay. It's a late review.
Yep.
We like it.
It's interesting that game is so cheap already.
Yeah, I think that's a sign of things. But
Like,
It's
Yeah,
a sign that people didn't want the game, but they just wanted the Amiibo.
yeah. I would throw Mario Maker in there as well for an honorable mention. In my household, not quite as much as maybe Zach or Jesse's, but my kids are more likely to ask for Yoshi before Mario Maker.
mine too. I'm like, if my son wants to play, if we're gonna play a game together, it's Yoshi's Woolly World, almost every time.
Yeah.
And until recently, and then again, I think if he's playing it by himself, a lot of times he'll sit down and like I will catch my 5-year-old and my 3-year-old making like levels that he's like, Dad, this level's so hard. It's like, actually, it's impossible. You literally can't finish this level. But
So it is really hard.
yeah, it's pretty fun though.
So-
And it's
So
just-
have you all been keeping up with the event courses? They just pushed
I have,
out.
yeah.
They
Yeah.
pushed out 2 new
Yeah.
ones today that didn't exist yesterday.
was that the Excite Bike and something else?
Super Mario Brothers it's NES Remix Excite Bike and NES Remix Super Mario Brothers 2.
Okay, which is
Sweet.
like a Birdo.
It'll be a Birdo costume, yeah.
Cool. Right on. Yeah, and again, like I said, Yoshi's Woolly World. My son played the crap out of that. We played that a lot together. And my honorable mentions, Lego Dimensions, I will give an honorable mention. It is really fun. Animal Crossing Happy Home Designer, which is maybe more of a, it's like a family game, but it's more of like, here's a game for the kids that you can kind of like play over their shoulder sort of deal.
Yeah, that's a good point. I forgot about that one actually.
And again, Mario Maker. I think those would be the 3 that I would choose. So
Yep.
Yeah, that Lego Dimensions, a lot of all the Toys to Life games, that one is trying to get its hooks into me. I'm almost ready to throw money at that, but not quite.
I picked up the Portal set, and it's cool to have the Lego. I don't know, it's really fun, and it's fun to. I got to get more into it, and I'll talk more about it.
Because I haven't been a big fan of the Lego games in the past few years, but that the Portal 2 set sounds like it could be fun.
I did get it. It was. The other thing was because of the Boxing Day sales up here, which is basically like Black Friday 2.0. Go and buy all the stuff that you didn't get for Christmas. They had the fun packs, which is just like one minifigure and their vehicle. They had them on for $10 up here.
Oh, wow.
So I bought. In fact, Amiibo was $10, and Disney Infinity, like all the Toys to Life stuff, were $10 at Walmart. And they were doing price match and all that. So we ended up getting quite a few. I think we have. Do we have a dozen different figures? It comes with 3, and then my son, like when we first got it, I think we had like 7 of them right out of the gate. And then we ended up buying like another 5. So yeah, like a dozen different little minifigs for it.
No, not your son collecting a bunch of little mini figures, putting on a wall or a shelf somewhere. That doesn't
Yeah,
seem like his
no, that-
father at all.
Yeah,
No.
I was listening to Lloyd Henderson's show, and I think he has every single one now from groups 1 and 2.
The thing that's like that's nefarious about this game is that and it's been said before, is that in every other Lego game you have all of the different characters. You got like 60 something characters in the roster. Like the one that I played was Lego Marvel Superheroes, and so all the different superheroes have different abilities and they unlock different things in the game. In this one it's the same thing, but all of these abilities that need to be used to trigger things in the levels are all locked behind a paywall instead. So it's like, oh, dang it. But it's still fun anyways. Anyway, that's totally, well, I'll talk more about that next week. So I think it's safe to say, so we've got Yoshi's Woolly World and Super Mario Maker as winners, and then the runner-up being Splatoon. Right on. Next up is 3DS. We've still got 3 more categories. 3DS here. Jesse, what is your 3DS runner-up game of the year?
Okay, for both the 3DS and the Wii U, I'm going through the list of games, and I'm like, I don't think I played most. I think I only played 1 or 2 of these games, or definitely only one of them. Apparently, most of my gaming this year was backlogging. So, for the next 2 categories, I don't have any runner-ups. I just have winners.
Okay.
So pass me on this one and come back to me when you're done.
Justin, what is your runner-up?
For best 3DS?
Yes.
So, I'm going to say this statement. So this is my first year with my 3DS.
Right.
So I played a lot of games for my 3DS that were not released in 2015.
Oh, okay.
So I had to focus. So if you asked me what my game of the year was that I played in 2015 on my 3DS, would be a different answer than my game of the year that I'm categorizing was released in 2015. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Just out of curiosity, what would it be if it was just
A Link Between Worlds
okay?
would be my game of the year.
Okay.
Because that was the best game I absolutely played on my 3DS.
And I would have said that if that would have been my game of the year 2013. Sure.
Yeah. So I'm playing a bit of catch up, right? So if I'm focusing on specifically what was released on the 3DS, I would say in the year 2015 that my runner up is actually Triforce Heroes.
Cool.
Is my runner up. I have some honorable mentions, but Triforce Heroes is my runner up.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't like the game as nearly as much as I thought I would, and so I didn't want to. I'd rather have no runner-up than call that a runner-up.
Sure. I thought, I actually really enjoyed it. Again, it's a great example. I love the fact that I can jump online and play, 15 to 20 minutes of online play. I do find occasionally the Wi-Fi connection is spotty, so that's a challenge, obviously. I like the fact they've added more content to it. For someone who's kind of like finishing off A Link Between Worlds, was a nice transition to kind of like just jump back in the Zelda world. Everything felt familiar and fun. I also liked how they did the 3-player online, like whether it was online or local. I like that concept. I'm willing to bet you that concept is also going to be played true in Federation Force. I bet you some of those things may come into play when you play together. But that was what I put in for my runner-up.
So wait, are you predicting the little emotes or whatever?
No, not the emotes, but like the 3-player online team kind of joining up. Random. You need the 3 people to complete a match together.
Oh, I see. I thought you meant okay. Cool.
No, I think the emotes were kind of just fun.
Yeah, right on. Very cool. My runner-up is The Legend of Zelda: Majora's Mask 3D. Now I was really close between these two. Both of them were 3D remakes of games for my runner-up spot. But it was really close between this and Xenoblade. Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, but I eventually eked out Majora's Mask 3D because it was more approachable. It made more improvements to the original, and it just frankly looked better graphically as well. Like even though the Xenoblade, which I'm calling an honorable mention, It did, it's a new 3DS only game. It did the faces were always so muddy and it just bugged me. But Majora's Mask 3D, I played it all the way through. I got the Fierce Deity mask, and I just loved it. It was super good. I really, really liked it. So that is my runner-up for the best 3DS game of the year.
Actually, going back to talk about Triforce Heroes a little bit more, I finally got around to going back to listen to the episode you recorded when I was out, and you when you were last talked about this game, and you couldn't remember the name of the new costume outside. You got the Fierce Deity mask costume, but you couldn't think of the other one. It's Linebeck.
Linebacker.
There it is.
We're like Lineback, Beckham,
Lancaster.
Lamborghini.
I was just yelling at my speakers.
You weren't the only one.
This is what happens when I'm not here.
Yeah, exactly. So Jesse, what do you got for the best 3DS game of the year?
I said Majora's Mask.
Nice.
Because I went through my play history for 2015, and that was the only retail game released in 2015 that I put in more than 5 hours in, and this one ended up being like 50.
Wow.
Because I 100% of that game.
Yeah.
And while I did it slower than you did, or at least you said you got about 30 hours in to get the Deity mask. Did you play the N64 version of it?
No, but I mean, honestly, especially with getting some of those masks, I knew I needed them, and I wasn't gonna do the whole messing around with following people. So I didn't even bother trying. I just FAQ'd that.
You FAQ'd it right away. Okay, yeah. So yeah,
FAQ that.
I never got into the N64 version, so for the most, I've only ever seen the first 2 hours of that game. So most of this game was new to me, and I really did enjoy it.
Yeah, it was really fun.
I did FAQ stuff at the end, but I think I did most of it on my own.
Yeah, like the wedding mask or whatever it is.
Yeah, that one definitely needed the FAQ.
Yeah, right on.
The N64 version was even more difficult because you don't have the ability to skip forward hour by hour.
Right.
So you just had to let time run, and that mission itself took an hour and a half to do. And if you messed one part up, you had to start it over.
Yeah. No, that was. It was the improvements to that game were pretty substantial too, like the Bomber's Notebook, all that business. It was it was a lot of fun. I really liked it. Right on. What about you, Justin?
For my game of the year?
Yep.
Or for my honorable mentions?
Your winner.
My winner was SteamWorld Heist.
Of course.
Yep. I thought that was absolutely fantastic.
Right on. Very cool. Anything specific about that game that is like?
I think I love the environment they've created with that kind of space western feel to it. I love it feels very Firefly-esque. I love the dirtiness of the ship. I love the fact that you can almost hear them creaking and cringing and moving together.
The sound work in that game really is amazing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily the music is pretty good too, but the sound in general is really
especially when the bots get destroyed and you just hear parts fall for the next 30 seconds.
Yeah.
There's just a lot of care was put into that. You can feel that people genuinely put effort and time into it, and created a really great experience. And I think that's kind of what it's just so good.
It'll be interesting to see what this game looks like when it gets out on Wii U and PS4 when they get the HD sprite art going on.
Yeah,
that'll look beautiful.
And I think a couple of other things that kind of really stood out for me, they're all character tropes that there's the big muscular Russian guy, and there's the girl from the farm, right? They play on those tropes, but they play on them properly.
They use that sort of archetype.
Yeah.
Really to their advantage.
Yeah.
The Russian Big Bot is one I keep in my party as much as I can.
Is he the guy with the barbell?
Yeah.
Yep.
And if you follow, each of these characters have a backstory if you go through and talk to them, and he was part of the circus, and then
Mhm.
one of the items that drops that is like it goes to him. You know, it doesn't fit for anyone else. It's like a pair of ballet slippers,
Mm.
and I forget what they do, but it fits.
Yeah.
What,
It's just a lovely level of humor. Again, I love the fact that you can die in a level and then go back and the level's completely different.
yeah,
Like
Yeah.
they add one to move and gives you a 50% chance to dodge a melee attack,
Wow.
yeah.
which is exactly what you want your tank to be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right on. Very cool. My winner for best 3DS game is, and again, I had a really hard time with this category. I'm not gonna lie. I eventually settled on Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate.
Hmm.
The reason I picked that is, again, what kind of settled a lot of this actually for me is like, what did I spend the most time with? What really sucked me in? What did I really play a lot of and really enjoy? And it really came to Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, as far as it's not a game for everybody, right? Like this, it is very much a kind of like, but if this is the game for you, if this is the kind of game that you feel like you could enjoy, the value that you get for this game is insane. The number of hours that you could literally, there are people out there who spend hundreds and hundreds of hours playing Monster Hunter, and I feel like if this game would have released at a different time, it might have been, I don't know if it's necessarily more successful, but it would have, because I think it was very successful. But I feel like it kind of faded away fairly quickly. And it was I really enjoyed it. I kind of, every once in a while, I'll go back and play a couple of missions too, and I really did enjoy it a lot. And so, and again, like we said earlier, the DLC in this game was nuts.
Mhm.
The amount of DLC. The DLC was also mostly end game stuff. Like, did you beat the campaign? Okay, well then maybe you'll be able to do this.
Maybe.
Maybe, right? But I feel like it was yeah, it was pretty fun, and it's definitely, as far as like the whole package, definitely the best game on 3DS this year. So that is mine. As far as runners up, Jesse, do you have any? You don't have any runners up, I'm guessing.
No.
Justin, what about you?
My runners up were
Honorable mention.
honorable mentions was Happy Animal Crossing Happy Home Design.
Okay.
I thought that was a pretty good runner up, and Codename Steam.
Yeah. See, that was I had a really hard time between Majora's Mask and Codename Steam, but I just I always had this feeling of it just didn't didn't deliver like I wanted them to. They really liked it, but it always like it almost felt like that, like, well, son, I love you, but you're a disappointment.
Yeah, not quite there. Not quite good enough.
Quite good. You're not quite good enough, son. Like that's kind of how I felt about that game. It was especially, and I think it is because of the potential of what they could have done with that game. It was disappointing, even though I still really enjoyed it and played it all the way through. And it was when I did the activity log on my 3DS, like you were talking about, Jesse, it was my number one game that I played. I played over 40 hours of that game this year. But still, I can't, you know, in good conscience put it in my top 2. So, but I still.
Yeah, I mean, I think I think it was a good game, but it wasn't like you said, the potential was there. The potential was there.
And it's the kind of game that I almost wish, like, it's more the world. I want to see more in that world, but not necessarily the same kind of game. You know, like I think we said it before, but like maybe a third-person shooter, sort of almost like a Splatoon style shooter game would be really fun, I think. But yeah. So the only other honorable mentions that I have as well, Xenoblade, like I said, SteamWorld Heist, Box Boy, Codename Steam, yeah, and Animal Crossing. Right on. Cool. Wii U. We've got 2 more to go here. Wii U. Jesse, you don't have a runner-up for this one either, I'm guessing.
Correct.
Okay, Justin, what is your runner-up for best Wii U game of the year?
Best Wii U game runner-up of the year for me was Super Mario Maker.
Nice.
And I think that was it was a game that, as we saw earlier, was one of my most anticipated games. I thought they did a great job of just paying homage to the game, but also allowing others to explore and find out about it. I thought it was just fantastic, and the fact that there's user-generated content and these event courses, especially the event courses now they've added. I kind of come back to like every week and play for like an hour of just even the event courses, and I see Eli's made something or Zach's made something. I'll go play their levels and jump in and out, and I think it's great. And they're even adding new updates to it too.
I think the event courses are one of the best things for that game because I now have a reason to go back, other than like a reliable reason to go back, not just maybe I'll jump in and maybe I'll actually get a good level this time. Whereas the event courses, it's going to be a good level and you're going to get something out of it by getting those mystery mushrooms. I really like the event courses that they've been adding.
Yeah, because I only have 2 levels created, and they both are pretty simple. Nothing's really complicated. But I noticed that the number of hits that they've been getting have been increasing as they push out more of the event courses. So people are not just playing the event courses; they're staying and playing more of the game.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, agreed. Right on. My runner-up for Wii U is Xenoblade Chronicles 3D, Xenoblade Chronicles X, not 3D. This game, I haven't had as much time lately to play it as I would like, but I have played it enough to know that this is definitely an excellent game. And I kind of waffled between this and another couple, honestly. It was kind of between this and Yoshi's Woolly World for me. But what ekes this one out is that I really enjoy. It's like nothing else that's on Wii U this year, or that has been out on Wii U at all. And it's a big game to really sink your teeth into. And it seems like a lot of the games that come out on Wii U, or on Nintendo consoles in general, are a lot more of the kind of game where it's pick up and play, and that's sort of what Nintendo has been releasing a lot of lately. And this is the kind of game that you could sit down for 6 hours and play this game, and it would just be great fun. And it's the kind of console game that I really, really enjoy playing. And I haven't played a game like this in a long time, and I really enjoy it. So, yeah, just 1 second. Okay, I've paused for 1 sec. Somebody's got crazy fan or some sort of... Jesse, did Skype turn you up?
I'll check.
Did it turn up your stuff?
No, I'm still sitting at 77 where I was at before.
Oh, weird. Okay. We can just leave it then. Yeah, we're good. Okay. Okay, so that is my Wii U game. Or runner-up, sorry. Jesse, what is your best Wii U game of the year?
So I picked Super Mario Maker.
Nice.
And that was, while Justin was talking about his runner-up, the first thing I thought of, so it wasn't Human Resource Machine?
Nice.
Yeah, when I was thinking of the 3DS and Wii U winners, I was only thinking of retail releases. I wasn't thinking eShop titles would, because since eShop had their own category. Otherwise, I might have had a few runners up in there. But so I was just thinking retails. But again, we talked a lot about Mario Maker already. I don't think there's anything else to be said. So
right
we can move on.
Justin, what is your winner for for best Wii U game?
This shouldn't be a shock if you kind of do the math. The best Wii U game for 2015, in my opinion, is Splatoon.
Yep, me too. Agreed. Go ahead. Speak your mind.
Yeah, it's like which one was going to do it? Yeah, I thought Splatoon, for not being a known quantity, first and foremost, right? This is the game where, Zach, again, this is a great example of you were like, "Oh, I'm looking forward to this," and I was like, "You are nuts! Like, what is this garbage?" I thought it was such a great game. I thought it changed how we kind of look at the first person shooter genre, right? Like, could when can you imagine you saying like, "Yeah, I'm playing a Nintendo property first person shooter that is just amazing."
Of
Involves
a
ink.
post-apocalyptic shooter.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic shooter that involves ink and squid children. And by the way, is winning all these
And
all these game awards
in neon colors.
in neon colors. Oh, and by the way, you're never really actually killing anything or anyone deliberately. Like, that's not the objective, and it changed. It redefined how we look at the first-person shooter genre. That only Nintendo could do it, and I think it was such a huge game for them.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if there was a bigger game, and I would actually hesitate to wonder if there is a bigger game in the entire Wii U collection that has moved the needle, so to say, for Nintendo and the Wii U as Splatoon.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, I totally agree. It's pretty crazy the amount of coverage that this game has gotten, or how big of a splash it has made. No pun intended. I don't know if splash is a thing in that, but and I mean
How big of a splat it made?
the music in this game too, by the way, is like nuts. Like, check this business. Sorry, oh, maybe. I don't know what that was. Hang on. I just like, there's so much about this game is crazy. It's one of the best soundtracks to a game lately too. It's just so crazy good.
I think the other thing for that I think we sometimes forget about is that this was not Miyamoto, right? Like, this is the future of Nintendo. This game, this was a new development team, right? Like, there's a lot of really important things that this game has done for Nintendo.
Yeah, well, it's crazy, and I mean, in a time where in a year where there was so much off the table, so many delays and games that were just not, that didn't meet expectations. Like, this was the shining star of 2015. And maybe we should just move on to this and we could talk more about it in the next category. But I feel like, yeah, Splatoon, absolutely best Wii U game of the year.
And the fact that, like, they just kept adding to it too, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I think that just increased its value exponentially. And they continue to roll out content, right? And it's free content, which people always like.
Well, and the crazy thing is that so much of this game was riding on, is Nintendo going to be able to keep people playing this game that is an online shooter, on a Nintendo console? How in the world are they even going to have people, how are they going to have matchmaking going on here? And be able to successfully keep that online system going and that online hype. And granted, it was a little bit weak out of the gate as far as, like, releasing, with a substandard amount of content, but man, that strategy paid off for them. I mean, like, they're still rolling out stages, all of it for free. All of the updates, it's crazy how much stuff, and the ability to continue that momentum to the end of the year. They've maintained that momentum for 7 months now.
Yeah,
it's amazing.
Well, and the other thing that I think we can't not stress enough is the fact that this is a new IP. This is not Mario, right? This is not Link. This is not Zelda. This is a brand new IP.
It almost was Mario.
It almost was Mario.
To the point where when the Smash Brothers update came and went and no Inklings were announced, like,
Everyone was upset.
I was outraged. Like, that is a travesty. What have you done? And so, like, that's pretty impressive to get that.
They'll be in Smash 5 on the NX.
Yeah, they will.
But like this, this was a game that, when we picked it up, I thought they were just selling me plastic amiibos. I didn't think the game was going to be any good. It really wasn't until we got down to the first Splatfest right? Like 3 weeks beforehand, they did a 24-hour Splatfest, and we all jumped on. And I remember sitting on my floor playing with my daughter, and I was like, "This is the most incredible game I think I have played in several years. Like this is awesome. I can't wait for this to be in my collection." And then, I mean, we basically consumed it, right? We consumed that game from the end of May until like beginning of September, and none of us complained. Like,
Yeah.
none of us were like, "Where's another game?" We're just like, "This is fantastic."
Yeah. Nice. Oh, very nice. This is Amiibo there.
Yeah.
And I mean, the thing is too, my son to this day, like, I don't know if I told you guys this, but because they have the monthly Splatfests,
Mm-hmm.
he missed a Splatfest in November and cried.
Oh no.
It was like pizzas versus burgers, and he didn't get to play it, and he was so upset to the point where, like, I don't necessarily play Splatfest every month, but he does. Like,
Right.
Saturday morning, he knows, like, he's like bugging me, "Dad, what's the next Splatfest? Dad, what's the next Splatfest?" And so, like, it is a monthly thing where he's just like, the Saturday morning of Splatfest, he's down playing a few matches, and he is like, the next day he's like finding out who it is. He'll be like, "Oh yeah, by the way, Dad, Team Naughty won," or whatever it was. What it was like December, it was Naughty versus Nice, right?
Yeah.
So like he knows exactly, like, that is a thing for him, and man, it's such a great game. So right on, let's head into the ultimate final award here. And I think maybe what we should do for this is we'll go through our individual ones, but I really would like to try and get maybe like like for sure a game of the year, but also maybe like a number 2 or number 3 or like top 5 or something. I don't know how hardcore we want to get into it, but
Sure.
like at least the top, if we can get an order to maybe the top 5, could we do
Okay.
that? Do you want to try doing that?
Let's try that.
It's kind of on the off the cuff sort of deal, but just getting our games of the year personally, and then kind of so that we can actually kind of tell everybody, hey, this is our top 5 games of the year for Nintendo Dads or something.
Sure.
Okay, so Jesse, what is your runner up for game of the year?
Okay, I'm probably going to get some ridicule for this, but I said Pokemon Picross.
Nice. Okay.
Just mostly ranking it just based on hours played.
Very cool. Pokemon Picross. Justin, what about you?
My runner-up for the game of the year is Super Mario Maker.
Very cool. Super Mario Maker. And mine, see, it's funny because by the end of it, we're like, yeah, okay.
Oh, we talked about that game 3 or 4 times already.
Yep, did. Yeah.
In the last hour.
Funny, right? Like I put it there as my runner-up for that game, but not my family game or my Wii. Oh, yeah, I did put it on for my Wii U game, right?
Yeah.
Just because for me, Mario Maker was really cool, but when I think about it for my family, not as cool.
Yeah. Agreed. I'm actually basically copy and pasting my best Wii U game category. I'm doing it here. So best.
And
so,
he literally did that in the show notes. I watched him do it.
Did.
So my runner-up is going to be Xenoblade Chronicles X for the Wii U as my runner-up. And Jesse, what is your winner?
Super Mario Maker.
Mario Maker. And Justin, looking in the notes here, you and I both have the same game of the year as well.
Splatoon.
So, and man, I feel like, okay, so this is the tricky part where we need to like not kill each other as we do this, but it's also fun to listen to. So as we do these 5, what if there's 5 games here, right? No, there's 4 games here.
There's 4 games here.
Yeah, I don't think I think we're okay with dumping Pokemon Picross from this list because I don't think either of you care about that.
Okay, so we've got
That's fair.
So as far as our actual top 5, we've got Super Mario Maker, we've got Splatoon, we've got Xenoblade on the dock. By the way, it's in the next one. And yeah, so here's the thing: is there anything?
I we'd have to add in, if we're doing a top 5, we have to add a couple more in there. You have to add Yoshi's Woolly World.
Okay. What else? Yoshi's Woolly World. I agree on that one.
I think for a game that consistently came up in our list, if I'm looking at how we've talked about it, I think SteamWorld Heist.
Yep.
I agree with that.
I think those are your top 5 games of 2015.
If we're gonna fight about ranking, I'd probably say SteamWorld above Yoshi.
Okay, so are we? Is everybody okay with Steam or Splatoon being number 1?
I think so, yeah.
I think that's the most fair, just because if you do something, say like winners get 2 points, runner up gets 1 point. Splatoon has 4 points. Mario Maker has 3. So so.
And I mean, like,
I'm
really,
okay with that order.
Okay.
Yep.
So, honestly, looking at this list, if we just switch these two in the dock, I think that's actually a pretty good rank. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that's pretty close, actually.
We've got for top 5, starting at number 5, Yoshi's Woolly World. Number 4, SteamWorld Heist. Number 3, Xenoblade. Number 2, Super Mario Maker. Number 1, Splatoon. Do we feel okay with Super Mario Maker being number 2 on that list, being the second highest? Or where would you put that? I don't. I almost feel like putting that number 5.
Really, hey? Tell me why.
Well, just because if you think about, and again, not that this necessarily matters, but as far as it being something that we all recognized as being one of our favorites on the Wii U, I guess Jesse did say it. You said the runner-up. No, I guess that does make sense because, yeah, no. Let's go with it. No, I'm okay with it, actually.
Are you?
Yeah. Wow, that was a lot faster than I thought. It's not like we're going with like every single. The reason I wanted to come up with something like this was because I've been listening. Like I said over the text, I've been listening to. It's a tradition of mine to listen to the Giant Bomb Game of the Year podcasts every year, and they literally spend so much time. But they're talking about every single game that came out this year for all systems, right? But yeah, I think this top 5 games. Is there anything like if you had to add additional games on to make it like a top 10, do we have enough to do that or no?
You know, if I was to add on more, again, this has to be released in 2015. I would probably add Triforce Heroes in there.
Okay.
What else did I add?
Box Boy? Is Box Boy?
Yeah, I think Box Boy is a highlight for sure.
Again, I think Monster Hunter was a pretty big deal earlier in the year. I think that would be worth putting on there as well. Can you think of anything? Jesse, I'm actually okay with, if we're doing a top 10, I think the Pokemon Picross is actually okay to put in there.
Yeah.
Considering how much time you put into it. I honestly feel, and it is such a huge game, it is actually pretty incredible.
If someone's going to fully consume the game, it's well worth the $30.
I feel like it would be like.
If that came out as a $30 cart, I would have bought it.
Yeah. Looking at these here too, like the other games that we've got on the list.
Runbow.
Runbow?
Yeah, I think Runbow.
Runbow. I'm just looking at mine too here.
Do we want Majora in there?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's kind of what I'm thinking. Majora.
I would take Box Boy out of and put Runbow in.
Ah.
Here's where the fight comes in.
Oh, see, that's the
rub.
Oh, so Triforce. See, because I'm thinking Triforce Heroes, but yeah, that was your one of yours too, right? Oh. Crap.
But what I guess what are we meriting? Well, I mean, the problem is like what's the scale of what we merit to get in, right? Like I think Runbow had an amazing soundtrack. I thought it was a unique level design. I think introduced characters that we don't typically, or we play with, but in different platforms. I think was a different skew of a game, right?
Right.
I can make all those arguments about Box Boy as well, almost.
That's yeah.
So I guess here's the thing: if I am willing to be a man who makes compromises for this group, we can remove Triforce Heroes if we add.
You know what? I don't want to sacrifice
the needs of the many.
But you know what? I guess like if I don't want to get rid of Triforce Heroes, maybe more I'd be more wanting to get rid of Runbow before I'd get rid of Triforce Heroes. But
really, yeah.
but that's, I mean, that's, see, that's what the spirit of just debate in this whole thing is. Like, I'm okay either way. I feel okay. I think that Pokemon. Ugh. Okay, what do you think is the best of these that we don't have? We've got Triforce Heroes, Box Boy, Monster Hunter 4 Ultimate, Pokemon Picross, Runbow, Majora's Mask 3D. What do we think is the best of this list?
Majora's Mask.
Majora, you think? Jesse, what do you think?
I think I'd agree with that because I of those lists listed, I've only played 3 of them, and again, we all know what I thought about Triforce Heroes.
Right. Okay, so then we've got. I'm actually okay with Pokemon Picross being like a number 7. Honestly,
Yeah, that's fine.
I feel like that's, and then we've got an 8, 9, and 10.
I don't have enough experience with Monster Hunter 4. I'm only taking your word for it, Zach, so I'm trusting you.
Yeah, like as far and that's the thing, right? Like as far as the reason I chose it as my best game on the 3DS is because of that total package. Such a huge game, and it's polished, it's great. I really, really liked it. But ranking it, it's funny that now that I'm forced to rank it against all these other ones and sort of show, say what my preference is. I feel like it'd be. How strongly do you feel about any of these ones? Does anybody have any strong feelings about any of these 4? Justin, you seem like Triforce Heroes, maybe.
Yeah, Triforce Heroes. I really enjoyed it. Like, and I think maybe it's just because I love that Zelda universe felt very familiar to me. I love the kind of the 3-person playing together thing that you have to have. Like, toteming people is funny. I love the kind of emoticons that they have going with it. Yeah, I don't know. Like and again, it's my kind of game because I can pick up and play for 10 minutes and I'm done, right? So for me, it fits my lifestyle. Box Boy is the same, right? I can play a little bit. It's more of a puzzle game. Runbow is another great example, right? Of just like short bursts.
Yeah, this is. What if we went? Okay, so I think you're right about. So we go Monster Hunter, or maybe Runbow, Monster Hunter, Triforce Heroes.
You're losing Box Boy.
I know, but it's. I'm okay. I'm better. I'm more okay with losing Box Boy than losing Triforce Heroes. If for a game that I probably didn't give as much of a fair shake as I should have.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
That's noble of you to say.
Yeah, I know. So.
Because I probably didn't give a Pikmin Picross a fair shake.
So we go Runbow. Which one is Runbow? The best of those 3? I think Runbow is the best of those 3.
Runbow, Monster Hunter, Triforce.
Yep. All right. Anybody want to argue any of the
merits on that?
On any of these?
That sounds good. It's hard to judge the games that you haven't played against the game that you have played. So
Which is one of the beautiful parts of this group, right? We all have very varying tastes.
Yeah. So what you said, we do have to go off of what everyone else has said.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm okay. By the way, just saying, is this a reflection of what I feel this group of us? Good reflection. I feel like SteamWorld Heist needs to be higher.
You think so? Where would you put it then? Would you push down Xenoblade?
I feel like it needs to be number 2.
Really? You're bumping Mario Maker.
I feel like the amount of I don't know, what do you think? Like maybe, or I would put it ahead of, not, thinking as the group, not just me, but like
sure.
As the group, I feel like SteamWorld Heist needs to be higher than number 4.
I mean, I could definitely see it at the 3 spot. I don't think I could see it at the 2 spot because I think Mario Maker has so much more to it, right? There's a nostalgia, there's the young kids, there's the what does it mean to give an IP to an audience and say,
yeah, I agree. I don't think Mario Maker should be below SteamWorld, but I'm okay with SteamWorld being at number 3.
Okay, so we've got number. Okay, is there any other order issues here? Looking at these, Like I'm looking at this, so we've got Splatoon is number 1, Super Mario Maker number 2, SteamWorld Heist number 3, Xenoblade number 4, Yoshi's Woolly World number 5, Majora's Mask 3D number 6, Pokemon Picross number 7, Runbow number 8, Monster Hunter number 9, and Triforce Heroes number 10.
I think it's fine. Now, here's what I'm going to do, though. I'm going to challenge those who are in the listening ears of our mouths. I don't know what that means. Listening ears of our mouths.
All three of you.
All 3 people.
Well,
if you download this episode here,
probably 2 if it's including me,
yeah.
who's monitoring chat.
Let us know if you disagree with our top 10 list, how you would reshift it. Now, also remember, these are just the games that the 3 of us have played. We recognize that there are other games out there for the Nintendo and the 3DS that we didn't play. We're not professional game journalists. We're not professional game reviewers. We can only play what we can play. And we lean towards games that fit our lifestyle and our show, which is Nintendo Dads. So if there are other games that you think, hey, you guys really missed on, like, if you want to make a solid argument for why Super Mario Smash Tennis needs to be on this, you really let me know. But I want to hear your opinion as well. So our top 10 list, we'll post this out on our social media and a picture as well, so people are aware of it.
Yeah, absolutely. Right on. So the Nintendo Dad's Game of the Year is Splatoon then, right?
Wow. Congratulations, Splatoon. Do we have some Splatoon music to kind of, rock that, to celebrate that win, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm sure we would, because it's an epic soundtrack. Very Japanese tech soundtrack, I think, as well. I love every time I hear it. It kind of just makes me. I want to start playing. There we go.
Does it just make you want to have sushi?
That too.
Right on. Oh, dude, this music is so fun. I want to go play this game right now.
The moment you hear it, you know what you want to do, right? And you have vivid memories of it.
Absolutely.
I think it's the same nostalgia as when you hear the first couple bits of Super Mario. That do 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 do. I think it kind of it's triggers, right?
Yeah.
I think Splatoon's soundtrack is the same triggers as Zelda, and I think as Mario.
I think I totally agree. And there's so much good. Oh man, it's just so good.
If they annualize Splatoon like they do Call of Duty, I think I might be okay with that. And we all know how I'm not okay with annualization of games.
It would be. I would really love to see more campaign. Like the campaign. If there's one thing that was a little bit weak sauce was the campaign. Only not because of the quality of it, but because it was so. Like I just wanted more. I wanted so much more out of that, and it was so good. What else? Where's some boss battle? What? Final boss. By the way, has everybody beaten the final boss here?
Yeah.
No, but that's fine. I've seen him.
Oh, so like. Oh man, this podcast is recorded in mono, but go do yourself a favor and find the final boss music on YouTube and listen to it in stereo headphones. So good. I feel like
that's one of the advantages of throwing in music in post, because even though our voices are in mono, you can still put in stereo music in there, and it does sound pretty cool.
That's true. Anyways, right on. So that is our 2015 Game of the Year. So here's the deal, guys. We're gonna skip. We kind of did. That is what we've been playing over the past year. We're gonna skip our emails. Send us an email. Tell us what your top games of the year were, as well as your predictions. I'm just gonna run down what we're doing over the next few weeks.
And we got a lot going on.
We got a lot going on. We're actually staying up even later tonight and recording another episode, an After Dark episode for Star Wars: The Force Awakens, which will come out this weekend, probably Sunday-ish. I think Sunday's usually when we post those, isn't that? Something like that?
Saturday or Sunday.
Yeah.
But yeah, if you're saying Sunday, I can get this one out to go out on Sunday. That's fine.
Right on. And then next week we've got our 2016 predictions. So send in your predictions. We're also going to recap last year's predictions and see who won, which should be fun, as well as we're going to announce the January Retro Rewind. So for those of you who are patrons, go over to patreon.com/NintendoDads. There is a straw poll posted right now for what our January game will be, and then we are going to talk about it first weekish of February. And so, yeah, so that's over there. So 2016 predictions next Wednesday, as well as Sunday, January 10th ish, probably around right, like next.
Yeah, that date. That'll work.
Better recording.
Yeah.
We're gonna have our Retro Rewind first episode released, which is all about
Link's Awakening.
Link's Awakening. And so, absolutely, for those patrons, do we have that special something posted to the patrons?
It actually just went out before we recorded today. It is live for them to check out.
Yeah, there's a sweet, awesome thanks to Cast Lush for that. That's great. And we're probably going to release that the same day as the Retro Rewind for everybody else.
Yep.
Right on. Spoiler alert, by the way, if you're going to watch that.
Yeah, for those who don't know, we worked with Cass Lush, and he created an amazing the history of Link's Awakening. It's about a 9-minute video, but it is riddled with spoilers, but it is really well done and tells some amazing work there. So
yeah, right.
Check that out when it's released. If you're a Patreon subscriber, you got it right now, which is awesome.
Yep, absolutely. And as well, I think that about does it, right?
Well, with Patreon, again, if you want to support us, you can go over to patreon.com/NintendoDads. We're getting really close to our $75 a month marker, which means we're going to be doing a monthly call-in show using Google Hangouts. So that's going to be a really cool feature. We've got that. Plus, on January 13th, guys, ladies and gentlemen, go mark your calendar. Josh Thomas from the BitBlock is actually going to join us. He's going to be our first guest for 2016. He's going to talk to us about the amazing stuff he does on his YouTube channel, including his new series called Make Believe, which you have to check that out. So, guys, the next 2 weeks are busy for us. We're gonna kick off 2016 going in strong. We look forward to it as well. So please join us.
Absolutely. And once again, head over to patreon.com/NintendoDads. That is where you can join the wonderful people over there to support us and get all sorts of goodness, take part in the Retro Rewind votes, and all that good stuff. Thank you to you guys. You guys make this show possible and all the awesome stuff that we continue to be able to do. You're the best. So as well, head over to social media, Twitter, Facebook, or Instagram at NintendoDads. Email us nintendodads@gmail.com, twitch.tv/NintendoDads. I would head you over to Twitch or YouTube, youtube.com/c/NintendoDads. Call in and leave us a voicemail, 929-25-NDADS. That's 929-256-3237. Big thanks to OC Remix for our music throughout the show, as well as to Carter Johnson for our amazing artwork. Head over to megacarter.tumblr.com, and if you want to change the world, go over to iTunes and leave us a 5-star review over there. Written reviews are even better. That's like a late Christmas gift you could give us. That'd be great.
That'd be stellar.
That'd be just awesome. And of course, if you want to download us, head over to iTunes, Stitcher, Google Play, or VGTribune.com. For me, for Justin, and for Jesse, we'll see you on the other side in 2016. See you later.
Bye-bye.
Oh, wait.
Thank you for listening to Nintendo Dads.
Nice.